Hi, it's Zobbel1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on Xbox. However, this video isn't really about Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is in the background, but this one gets into stuff about free speech, politics, and stuff like that. So I know a lot of you don't like that, so if you don't, click off this video. In the background of this video I've got some no cargoes free to go and a protracted fight that me and Scooby had with Oldest Bladeborn, which unfortunately ended in a D instance, which frustrated all three of us. All ships were badly damaged towards the end. Scooby was probably going to die. He was on 9% hull when it all crashed. I was on 50% hull. Alders was quite low as well. It was a fun fight that just went to pieces. But this is continuing by talking about free speech in the UK and possible blasphemy laws through the back door. Now, recently we've had a couple of incidents of people burning the Quran. This has been an epidemic of burning the Quran across Europe. A guy in Sweden did it and got killed. And then a couple of people, I think, burn them in solidarity with that guy to show they weren't afraid to. One guy outside the Turkish embassy, he got attacked almost immediately by people with knives from the Turkish embassy. And there was another guy, I can't remember which one, but one got attacked by an Uber Eats courier just going past. Now, book burning is not something I'm a big fan of. I wouldn't burn any book. However, do I think you should be criminalised for burning a book? Now, I'm an atheist, so of course religious text means nothing to me. I have no connection or reverence for holy text as far as I'm concerned. He was just burning his own property, and therein lies the issue. My line of where freedom of speech is and where other people's line of freedom of speech is are going to differ, especially when it comes to religious issues, because I'm an atheist. Now, some MPs got into a spat about it because one MP said it was, we don't have blasphemy laws in the UK, and burning a Quran is not a crime, and another MP weighed in saying that free speech means protecting the right to offend Muslims. And it means having the right to offend anyone for any reason. It's freedom of speech. Now, we do have in the UK freedom of expression. We don't have the protected right like in the US, where it's almost an absolute freedom of speech. We have what's known as a restricted right, and that line for about undue state interference really varies different from place to place, but it's in our human rights legislation, and the courts have on occasion held up freedom of expression quite strongly. I'm a member of the Free Speech Union, and that's one thing I'm very passionate about, is having the ability to freely express yourself as a person in the UK. Especially when it comes to religious matters. We live in a very multicultural society, in a very religiously diverse society, and we have freedom of religion. There are a lot of people that have differing opinions, and also you have very many different levels of religion. All religions that I know go from like the people like me that are like atheists that were born into the religion but are no longer in the religion, to the normie day-to-day, oh yeah, I'm of that faith but I'm not really that practicing, to the hardcore practicing side. It tends to be like those things. I mean, I know many Muslims that would gamble or eat pork or listen to music and are not that practicing yet. That's the majority of Muslims that I grew up with. However, on the flip side, I know a lot that are very, very strict and would not dare breach anything that's haram. So you have differing levels of religious belief, and trying to conflate criticism of Islam with racism is kind of disingenuous. And I even got community noted by X saying critiquing a religion is not racism. And I mean, Muslims coming in all colours, shapes, sizes, creeds, and you can be a ginger lad from Stoke and be a Muslim if you really want to convert. There is no race when it comes to religion. Virtually all religions are open to people. You can convert to any religion you want to. You can be of any race and follow any faith. I mean, it's to try and conflate it with racism is kind of pathetic. And honestly, criticizing a religion is fully allowable. I can say that religion is just an argument about whose imaginary friend is the best. But I'm an atheist. some people may find that offensive. Some people might even find that to be hateful. I don't, because I'm not a religious person. And, as far as I'm concerned, religion is not something that, I feel I have to defend. Now, when it comes to this, depends on the context, and I would not burn flags, but I would certainly support the burning of a flag in a protest. In fact, I've seen Union Jacks burnt in the past few years, and I have defended people's right to do it, even though I find it personally offensive. As a British person, I don't like to see my flag being burnt. But if you're burning it in protest over something my country's doing in your country, or my country's doing that you don't like, I'll defend your right to burn it. That's, part of why we have freedom of expression. Freedom to, protest and express yourself, express your political opinions. So, as much as I would fight for your right to burn my flag, I think you should fight for my right to burn your book. Again, not something I'm into. I wouldn't bother burning books because it's just destruction of property, But equally, I want to live in a country where I'm free to criticise a religion. I don't want to be in a country where I have to, bow my head in reverent respect of a religion. Because I shouldn't have to. I should have the freedom to be an atheist, the freedom to express myself as an atheist, and the freedom, as much as possible to do what I like when it comes to religion. I was born a Catholic. If I want to go to Mass on a Sunday and, cosplay being a Catholic for a while, I should be free to do that. I should also be free to criticise Catholicism because they had a load of paedophile priests. It's, swings and roundabouts, guys. I can, criticise all religions, all faiths for various crimes against humanity. Doesn't necessarily need to be the religion of peace that I'm picking on. I can pick on any religion you want. Give me a religion and I'll give you something bad that it's been involved in. It's just the ability to freely express your ideas is more important to me than the freedom of people to live without being offended. Now, soon they're planning into bringing Islamophobia laws. This is something Labour have been cooking up for ages. Now, this document that I'm going to show you is the all-party parliamentary group's current Islamophobia guidelines, which I would guess that anything Labour come up with is probably going to be based around this document. This has been floating around for quite a while. As you can see, it's been floating around for 8 years. It's something that, all parliamentary groups, it's something that they refer to, and was referred to when Labour were talking about bringing Islamophobia laws in. Now, I'm completely against the idea of Islamophobia laws because I should be free to criticise any religion at any time for any reason I like, as an atheist. And we have such a diverse range of religions in this country, it seems crazy that we would protect one more than the others. And there's a few things. Most of the things on here I don't find disagreeable. There's a lot of things, you shouldn't be dehumanizing people. You shouldn't be using Muslims as a collective. Like I said earlier, there's many Muslims that are, very westernized. There's ones that aren't very westernized. There's ones that, will eat pork and gamble. And there's ones that are very strict and devout. You can't lump all into one group. There's a lot of things on here that I don't think are too bad. There's a couple of things on here that I think are particularly weird and I would be against. One is the denying of history, which seems strange to me, why you would ask people to deny history. And one is to deny, something that is, is in the Quran. So, there's a couple of things on there that I don't feel should be on it, but I don't think we should have Islamophobia laws in the first place. Now, I'm not a very eloquent person, so I'm going to leave the main argument to a very eloquent person and play you a speech from somebody regarding Islamophobia laws. This was a warning from history. This is a warning from a long time ago from a very eloquent man who speaks up against the idea of having Islamophobia laws subjected upon the UK. Not something we should look forward to and not something we should support. We got rid of blasphemy laws for a reason. In the past few years we've had many incidents where things have been suppressed because of fear of Islamophobia or We've taken movies out of cinemas. We've had school teachers that had to go on the run. We've had weird and wonderful incidences. This is the instance from Scooby's point of view. It was all fine. Me, Older, and Scooby were in parties soon afterwards chatting. It might have been a host migration because we had Lara was jumping in because he was in wing with us, and then the wing crashed, and then typical Soul system connection issues. And it might have been a D instance because of it changing host mid-fight. But yeah, after 30 minutes of fighting, we were all left going, oh, that was a bit poo. But anyway, I'll say that's all. Thank you very much for watching, and watch this very important speech from a very articulate middle-aged man who I respect greatly.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen. I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are just symptoms of surrender, very often ecumenically offered to you by men of God in other robes, Christian and Jewish and smarmy ecumenical. These are the ones who will hold open the gates for the barbarians. The barbarians never take a city until someone holds the gates open for them. And it's your own preachers who will do it for you, and your own multicultural authorities who will do it for you. Resist it while you can.